Welcome back, Trailblazers. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to talk about a tool that has completely transformed the way I plan and navigate my hikes, AllTrails Plus. As a Trailheads ambassador and the organizer of the Yakima Valley Trekkers, I'm out on the trails a lot. One of my favorite features of AllTrails Plus is the ability to edit and create my own maps. Conditions change, fallen trees, washed out sections, or even a last-minute reroute. And with AllTrails Plus, I can adjust my route on the fly and share it with others so everyone stays informed and safe. AllTrails Plus also gives you offline maps, wrong turn alerts, and 3D trail previews to help you stay on track and make the most of your adventure. And the best part, you can get 30% off an AllTrails Plus membership with my exclusive link in the episode show notes. So whether you're planning your next big trek or just looking for a new trail to explore, AllTrails Plus has you covered. Check it out and let's hit the trail. Welcome everyone to the Hikes and Mikes podcast. I'm your host, Ivan, and together we'll embark on a weekly journey, connecting with extraordinary hikers from all corners of the United States and beyond. Throughout these spring months, we've had the privilege of conversing with remarkable individuals. Their experiences and adventures will leave you yearning to hit the trails. In this week's episode, we're joined by Shaneice, a devoted mom and outdoor enthusiast who found healing, strength, and purpose on the trail, one step at a time. What began as a way to cope with a difficult chapter in her life has grown into a joyful, adventurous bond with her young daughter and a passion for helping other families connect with nature. From neighborhood strolls to camping among wild ponies on Assateague Island, Shaneice shares powerful stories of resilience and growth, the realities of hiking with kids, and how she's building community through her platform, KayLashae Adventures. Her message is clear: the outdoors is for everyone, and it can be a place of deep healing and unforgettable connection. Without further ado, let's jump into this episode with our guest, Shaneice.
Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of the Hikes and Mikes podcast. I'm really excited to have this guest with me today. She's going to be sharing about her incredible journey with the outdoors and how she's helping the next generation of outdoor enthusiasts get out there and enjoy what Mother Nature has to offer. Her name is Shaneice. Thank you so much, Shaneice, for coming on the podcast. We always like to start off by having our guests share a little bit about themselves and how they got started hiking.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here on this podcast. And just a little bit about me. So I grew up down south in rural Georgia, and I have a 7-year-old kiddo. She's 7 going on 17. And we love being outside. We love being outdoors, and we're always hiking and everything. And I bring up the fact that I grew up in rural Georgia because I grew up in rural Georgia. It's very wooded, and we were always kind of like outside playing, but I never actually went on a hike when I was there. So all of that kind of started much later in life, right? And I was about, 30 when I started hiking. So it's never too late. Started hiking with her actually as stress relief. That's how we started. That's how we started getting outside, just as a way to relieve some stress. And since then, it just has blossomed to both of us just love being outdoors. And we barely are in the house now, just because that's our favorite thing to do. So that's kind of how we got started.
Yeah, Georgia has come on my radar after speaking with some incredible guests. The Black Hiking Club there out of Atlanta, and some of the state parks and city parks that are down in Georgia are just incredible. And I think the fall colors are equally impressive in parts of the state that, I definitely need to make it down there to GA and be able to explore and hike around on the local trails. Now, Shaneice, I think your story resonates with a lot of us because for many of us, the outdoors is therapeutic in a way. We find peace, serenity, enjoy the beauty. And you started going out and enjoying the outdoors as a way to kind of, I guess the better way, it really became a pivotal part in your healing journey because you had gone through a divorce and it helped you overcome not just heartbreak, but then it also helped you find the strength. Can you share a little bit about how the outdoors and hiking became such a pivotal role in your healing journey?
Yeah, exactly like you said. It changed my life in an amazing way that I never thought possible. And it started as a stress reliever from the heartbreak that I was going through and just the stress of going through a marriage that wasn't working. And it was one of those things that I noticed I didn't really have peace in my house, right? Like when I was going through this, before we got to the point of being fully divorced, when the marriage was in a really bad spot, I didn't really have peace in the house at all. And I remember like my friends and coworkers, they'd be like, I can't wait to get off work and go home. And I was like, I could work another 5 hours, right? I didn't have that peace in the house because it was just so, every word you can describe to talk about something that's not good, it was that, right? A friend of mine actually was just like, why don't you go on a walk? And I'm like, a walk? I'm going through all of these things right now. You telling me to go on a walk? What? But I did. I started going on walks. And I will tell you, when I started going on walks, I would go on the walks and I would pray. And that was the only time I literally could just experience peace throughout my day. So much so that I couldn't wait to leave work to go for a walk. Just being outdoors in nature and seeing the trees, hearing the birds, the sunlight. Like when people say that nature gives you these benefits of just like mental health and just calming you down, it's absolutely true. I started experiencing that so much so that then I started taking my daughter with me because, she's like, Mommy, where are you going? So I started taking her with me on these walks and I saw her light up because she was just happy to be with me. And it was almost like every time I was out there, the walks started to turn into these local hikes. And every time I was out there, it was almost like God showing me like, you can do this. Like you can get through this situation. You can get through this difficult time that you're going through. Because I had all these things going through my head with trying to get through the marriage failing, the divorce coming. It's like, how do I go from a 2-parent household to a 1-parent household? How do I make sure that my daughter is still, good? How do I make sure she's not seeing me breaking down and stressed and going through all that? And the answer was get outside. Get outside, get out of the house, go on a hike, go on a walk, relax, hear yourself think, have you some peace, pray, bring your daughter along. And I just kind of got hooked from that point on.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see how you've embraced the outdoors with your wonderful daughter. And I think for a lot of us, when we're first getting into hiking, it's hard to know where to start. And I think being either a single mom or a parent, it's hard to find out like where are kid-friendly hikes. Because sometimes, you might get on a trail and you realize that this might be a little bit more difficult than expected. How did you navigate exploring the outdoors with your daughter? And then what advice would you give other single parents looking to explore nature, even if they don't have the experience or maybe the resources to get started?
So first I would say, how you get started, I would just say it's never too late because again, this was me at 30, just started to hike. It's never too late. And, start small, like start within your comfort zone. Our hikes started literally as neighborhood walks. We didn't venture out into, I guess, true hikes until we did a few neighborhood walks with just me and her so I could get comfortable, right, of taking her around by myself. And then as we got comfortable doing that, we started doing state parks that were staffed with park rangers and then started getting into like national parks. Virginia has a good bit of them that are staffed with, like park rangers, especially first starting out from the safety factor, knowing that, okay, there's someone on site that's patrolling and everything. That's kind of how we got started. And then from there, as my confidence built up, we started going to places that, are just local trails and things like that that may not have the park ranger. It can feel scary at first, right? When you're by yourself with the child, like that's an added layer. But the thing is just start within your comfort zone and start small. That's the advice I would give. Start within your comfort zone and start small. I think a misconception with hiking, especially hiking with kids, is that you have to, hike 5, 6, 7, 8 miles, right? Or you have to, get, 1,000 feet elevation gain and all of these things. But some of that is not realistic, with the child, but that's still hiking, right? And one of my things I try to tell parents is that, hiking really doesn't have to be hard. There's different levels to it. The biggest thing is start to where you are comfortable at. And you just got to start. And I'm telling you, once you get started on it, you get hooked.
You're so right. Once you get the ball rolling, it's hard to stop. And then as you increase your experience, you'll get to tackle those longer hikes with maybe a little bit more elevation gain. But yeah, some of my favorite hikes are river walks where you can just walk alongside a river or a stream. It might only be a 15-20 minute hike, but just getting outside and enjoying it for those 10 to 15 minutes can do a world of benefit, I believe.
Yeah, they definitely can. I tell my friends, I'm like, I'm a believer. Like, as someone who never hiked before, and I used to see friends, in college, they talk about hiking. I'm like, why? What's so great about that? But now I'm like, you can't tell me nothing else. And like you said, river walks and things, what it does to the mental and then the bonding that you get, right, with your kids, because there's no iPads, there's no distractions, there's no YouTube, none of those things. It's just you and your kids. And then some of the conversations you have, some of the things that they ask is amazing to see. And then some of the creativity that comes out of it, like some of the games that my daughter comes up with out on these hikes. I'm like, how did you think about that? Right? And so it just opens up a whole nother world for me, definitely from the healing aspect and from that point. But also it opened up a world of adventure for us. And then seeing her, like I said, as just coming into her own, just being out there and being herself and us bonding in that way.
One thing that you've been able to showcase on your Instagram is you do a really great job of balancing not just mother-daughter hikes, but also solo hikes. How do you find your balance? And then can you share what you find in each that's rewarding for you?
So, yes, the mother-daughter hikes are rewarding because I always say, like, try to spend as much time as I can with her while she still thinks I'm cool. So that brings the reward of us bonding and creating these amazing memories that we can look back on, right? And some of our hikes, she wants to, when we take our selfie, she's like, can I send it to my teacher? And, it's so cool that we get that type of bonding without the distractions of the laundry and the dishes and the air and all the to-do lists and all of that. All of that goes out the window for a couple hours for us. So that's the benefit that I get with being with her on hikes. What I get with just me on my hikes, just my solo hikes, is complete peace, right? Because I will say with kids, hiking is amazing. It's peaceful, but it's not the peaceful that you'll get when you're by yourself, because sometimes kids like, I'm ready to go home. I want to slow down. I'll reach to the car yet. So you have to still kind of parent, right, on the trail. But when I'm by myself, it's like not parenting for it right now. I'm sitting by this stream, watching this waterfall for an hour, and just me in my own element. And I get to, a lot of times I journal out there. I meditate when I'm out there, and, I pray when I'm out there, and it resets me. Like it's a calming, and it grounds me, so that then I've kind of like now poured into myself, so then I can go back in mama mode, and I'm ready and I'm refreshed and I'm refilled, right? So that's why I try to do both.
Yeah, I'm going to have to borrow that journaling, next to a waterfall or out on a hike, instead of just getting to the destination and then turning back around, to really spend time and enjoy it. That's a good way. Now, Shaneice, you mentioned that you're based out of Virginia, and Virginia has some incredible outdoor spaces. I'm interested in hearing what some of your favorite spots are to visit in Virginia.
Oh man, I have so many. I have so many. Virginia has blown my mind as someone who did not grow up in Virginia. It's one of those underrated states that has just everything. It's got mountain hikes, it's got hikes by the beach, it's got, hikes in the valley, it's got waterfalls, it's got all of these things. So just Virginia in general is just, again, it has blown my mind once we started to get out and see what's out there. Some of my favorite spots The first one that pops into my mind is this because I'm taking my daughter with me. It's this short hike. It's only about a 1.6 miles and it's called Stony Man Trail. And when you're going to this hike, it's in Shenandoah National Park. And when you go in there and you're walking, you're like, okay, this is a, normal old wooded hike. But the outcrop is like, whoa. It's like another world when you get out there and you can actually sit out there and you can see cities. Like it's amazing. And you can see all these mountains and it's just beautiful, especially when the sun is out. If there's a little bit of cloud cover, you can see so far. I can't even describe it. It really is like another world from the hustle and bustle of Northern Virginia. And I love that one so much because it's a shorter hike and you get to see these views without, especially having a child, without too much of elevation gain. And then, she brought her binoculars with her and she put on her binoculars. She's like, I can see a baseball field. And I'm like, where? But sure enough, I put them on. We found this baseball field down there and we just sat out there for, a good minute, just enjoying the view in front of us. It's just breathtaking. So that's my absolute favorite off the top of my head. Some of the other ones, Virginia's got some amazing waterfalls. There's this waterfall called Dark Hollow Falls. It's pretty awesome. Massive, massive waterfalls. And then one of my other favorites is down in this place called Grayson Highlands. And it's in Southwest Virginia. And again, it looks like I was like, are we still in Virginia? It looks so amazing with the mountainous views and lush greenery, especially in the spring and fall and all the flowers are blooming and everything. But they have wild ponies out there. We saw wild ponies free roaming in their element, and they're just beautiful. So those are my top three.
Yeah, I think the more I hear about Virginia, I definitely am hearing that you have some incredible rock formations, some incredible waterfalls. The fall colors can be spectacular as well. So it's definitely a place that folks, if they're interested in enjoying the outdoors, it has a lot to offer. One thing that caught my attention is when you and your daughter went on your first camping trip together. And I'm going to need your help, Shaneice, because I don't want to butcher the name, but is it Assateague Island National Seashore?
Yes, Assateague Island, yes.
Yeah, Assateague Island National Seashore. Can you share a little bit about that experience camping with your daughter for the first time?
Yeah, that was amazing. That was another amazing experience that we had because my daughter is a fan of Peppa Pig. And she was like, hey, can we get in the camper van? And I said, well, we can't get in the camper van, but we can go camping, right? We can't get in a camper van. And she was like, can we go camping? I had never been camping before. And, I had never set up a tent before, anything like that. But I wanted to find a camping spot that wasn't super deep in the woods, right? Just for the first time. So we found out about Assateague Island National Seashore, which actually there's a Virginia side and there's a Maryland side. It's just how big this island is. And it's a part of the national park system as well. My daughter is in love with ponies, and I saw that they also had ponies. So we traveled up to Assateague Island on the Maryland side, because on the Maryland side, the ponies, they're also free reining. And I wasn't prepared for how free reining they were, but it was a good thing. So we get there, and when you go to this place, you've got this beautiful beach, this pristine beach that is so big, and the shoreline goes on for miles and miles and miles. There's a lot of people there, but it felt like it was just us. Even though we had these other camping sites around us, it felt like it was just us. And once we got there, we set up the tent and everything. They told us, hey, make sure you lock your food up because the wild ponies like to come out. And sure enough, ponies came out. They're just roaming around. And we got a first view, like staring at these ponies. They maybe were like 40 feet in front of us. And my daughter, she just lost her mind. She sees these ponies. I lose my mind, but I'm also like, okay, stay back over there. With the ponies. But it was amazing. And so we set up our camp and we camped for the night. And I woke up the next morning. The sun rises right over the water. So you get a full view of this sunrise. And my daughter, it was amazing because we were on the beach. So she's playing for hours and hours and hours. And it felt like it was, again, there was other people there, but it was so expansive that it felt like we almost had the beach to ourselves. Like we didn't see people for, 100 feet each way just because of how big it was. We flew our kites there. First time flying a kite. We did that and we did not want to go home. And so we booked another trip. We're going back. And that moment was a moment for me, when you talk about healing, that was a moment of strength for me. Right? It was like, girl, you out here camping by yourself with your daughter. Like, you can do anything, right? You can do anything. Look at what being outdoors has done for you and how you've grown as a mom, as a woman. You're confident, you're resilient, you're like almost like fearless out here because of, what you've learned just by falling in love with being outdoors and taking on these adventures, right? And it was just like such a surreal moment when I woke up and I saw that sunrise. I'm like, oh, look at you. You're doing this. It was amazing. So I encourage everyone, check out Assateague Island. That place is one for the books.
You got to ask Shaneice, how hard is it to reserve or book a campsite? Is it first come, first serve, or can you reserve it online?
You can actually, you can reserve it online. It's recreation.gov. It's the website. They fill up quickly, but the hack is that you can actually set up an alert for the date that you want. Even if it's booked, you can set up an alert for it. And the minute that someone cancels and stuff, because some people book so far out in advance, you can then pop back in quickly and reserve your spot. So that's what happened with us. I was trying to book it for a particular date. All of them were full, but then I set an alert for the date that we wanted. And sure enough, someone canceled, and that's how we snagged the site. But it's recreation.gov, and it's so cool because you can choose the type of spot you want. So they have Bayside, and then they have ocean view, the ocean side. So we stayed on the ocean side. And then they also have, a site for, large groups or smaller groups. They have walk up where, you can park and then walk to your site. But they also have drive up. That was good because I was like, just in case we get too afraid of overnight, I'll get a car and we'll do some car camping. But we got through the night. It rained that night and everything, but it was really good. But that's how you reserve.
And yeah, I think one of the great moments that you were able to share on your Instagram, you've mentioned your daughter's creativity and imagination really being heightened when she's exploring the outdoors. And, the encounters that you've been able to have with the wild ponies have been really magical. But the one that really put a big smile on my face was you mentioned that your daughter thought they were unicorns because they're so majestic. It's one thing to see horses in a stable and, on a farm, but to see like true wild ponies out in nature, it's something else. How was it, hearing your daughter call them unicorns? Because that must have been a special moment.
It was a special moment. It was amazing. And what was interesting about that place is that we were hiking and she started to get tired. And she's like, hey, can we turn around? Can we go? But we were passing someone on the trail and they were like, there's wild ponies up there. And I'm like, wild ponies up there. I'm like, okay, look, just 5 more minutes. We can make it, And she's like, I'm tired. I'm like, just 5 more minutes. So she got so tired that she wanted me to carry her. So I put her on my back for a little bit. And then I'm like, come on, you can do it. And so she's like, I'm tired. But then we go around the bend and we see these ponies. She is not tired anymore. All of a sudden, her I'm tired turned into, oh my gosh, Mommy, there's unicorns, And I'm like, they're unicorns? She said, yeah. Unicorns are baby ponies. And she's like, there's unicorns. And we saw this gray one. And that really was like, for her, she was like, do you see it? And she was instantly like, she was just staring at this gray pony, this blonde hair. She's just staring at it. And she was like, we got unicorns. And it was cool because she had put it on her bucket list that, she's the age. One of the things that she wanted to see, she was like, I want to see unicorns and butterflies. And so for us to be able to experience that, and she's like, they're amazing. And I don't know how long we stayed out there watching those ponies, but instantly all of her tiredness went away. And there are so many others that we saw that were out there too. And for me, it was just like, oh, As a mom, like you live for these moments where you like make your kids kind of dreams come true, right? And you know that this is something that they're going to cherish forever. That I got to see unicorns. And she got back and she told her friends, I saw unicorns on my hike. And they're like, unicorns aren't real. And she's like, no, I saw unicorns. So it was definitely one for the book. So and the theme is, Virginia does have several spots where you can see wild ponies. Now I'm on the hunt for them because I know how much she likes them.
Oh, I love that. What a special moment to be able to experience and witness. That's really great. I think you've been able to build a really supportive community for other moms and families through your Mommy and Me group hikes. What have you learned from these experiences, and how do you hope your journey as a mom adventurer will inspire others, especially those who may not have grown up outdoors?
The Mommy and Me hikes, they hold a special place in my heart. And the way that they came about is that I have my daughter the vast majority of the time. And I saw different group hikes and hiking groups and things like that where I wanted to be a part of it, but I didn't want to be the mom that's like, can I bring my kid, please? I kind of felt a little embarrassed. Like, can I bring my kid with me? I didn't want to be a hindrance, right? If they're going on 3 miles and it's all adults and I'm asking, can I bring my 7-year-old? And so that was one factor that came into it. And then the other factor was that she told me too that, she's like, can I bring a friend on the trail? So I was like, you know what? Let's try a group hike. So I just posted it one time on Facebook about doing a group hike. And some moms I was like, hike with my daughter. Like, hey, I'm hiking with my daughter this weekend and we're going to go here. If you want to go, let me know. And they're like, oh, I'd love to because, I want to bring my daughter with me. I want to bring my kids. And so that's how we got started with the group hikes. And I was kind of half expecting people to show up, but no, we definitely had a good group that came out. And what I learned from that experience now going into my 5th one is that moms want community too. We want to be able to have our kids a part of it. Sometimes when we have our kids, one person came and she was like, I love that you did this because I didn't want to have to find a babysitter to go on the hike. And I'm like, you should never have to find a babysitter to go on the hike. And so I learned that moms want community, and this is a gap that can be filled by saying, hey, bring your kids. We welcome you to bring your kids. And moms really resonated with that and that bonding time that they had. And the second thing that I learned that was, I think, super interesting for me was it's like a no judgment zone when we're out there on a trail because kids are going to be kids. And when you are hiking with other moms who understand that kids are going to be kids, it takes the pressure off, right? You're not like, slow down, stop, stay on the trail, we expect that kids are going to be kids and we let the kids take the lead. A lot of times they're hiking in front of us, doing their own thing, and we're, chit-chatting in the back, but you get to experience a couple hours of just being around other moms who get it. Right? Being around other moms who get what you're dealing with, who get how it is, bringing your kids along, and you get kids who are making new friends out there. And then you also get moms who make new friends out there too. So all of these things came from that first hike. And I hope to inspire other moms, just get outside, right? Get outside. I say prioritize your peace and your mental health and get outside and enjoy your kids. And being outdoors is the way you can do both of those. I hope to inspire moms to know that you can start where you're comfortable. Hiking can feel intimidating a lot of times, especially with children. But once you just get out there and realize it's never too late to start, you're talking about someone who did not grow up outdoors. I was outside in the country, but I did not grow up outdoors at all. I'd never been on a hike. I'd never seen a waterfall. I'd never seen the mountains, none of that at all until after I started, with me and my kiddo at the time.
I love that you were able to identify a gap of opportunity for moms like you in a similar position where they want to go outside and enjoy the outdoors. But, I think one of the great things over the last several years is these hiking clubs and hiking groups are really starting to reach all different backgrounds, from all-female hiking groups to BIPOC-led hiking groups to the youth who haven't had a chance to explore. I think it's really great that folks like you are seeing a need to be able to bring together other community members that have the same need and be able to enjoy the outdoors together and build that sense of community. And, I think what you're doing is amazing for your fellow community members, and I know that your group is only going to grow. I did want to ask, if folks are interested in learning more about your Mommy and Me group hikes, where are some of the places they can find more information?
Thank you for asking that. A couple places. First, on my Instagram, I post them there. It's KayLashae Adventures. Also, I'm on Halo. If you Google search Mommy and Me Group Hike Virginia, my Halo will come up. And then also I have a website coming out, KayLashaeAdventures.com, where we have the group hike. There's a little banner for a group hiking community. Right now, Instagram and Halo, definitely. And then also the KayLashaeAdventures.com.
We'll be sure to link those in the episode show notes so people can learn more. Now, I did want to ask you, because I saw this on your feed, and anytime I recognize the trail from back home in Hawaii, I got to ask the guest about it, because you hiked the Lanikai pillboxes over on the windward side of Oahu. Can you share a little bit about that experience, and how did you end up coming across the trail and that gorgeous viewpoint over the Moats?
That trail is like, have you ever had something that just left you speechless? Like you can't even describe it. Like that's that trail. I can't even put into words how beautiful that was. How I found out about it, I was out in Hawaii on a trip, and I wanted to do a sunrise hike. And it was me doing a solo hike, sunrise solo hike, good old all trails. All trails. And I Googled it, pillbox. And I Googled and they talked about the pillboxes. Then I learned about what a pillbox was. And I was so intrigued at what the pillboxes were used for, how they were used from kind of the military standpoint, the historical piece of it. So that's how I found out about it. And the goal was to just get up there, sunrise, come down. But once I started hiking it, I didn't want to come down after I got up there. And from the moment you start to the moment you got up there, it was nothing short of beautiful. I don't even have words to put it into perspective of just how gorgeous it was. So there's one place on the bucket list. It's gotta be that one. Like, if there's a bucket list hike, it's gotta be that one. You've got the ocean on one side. You're on this pillbox on the mountain, staring down at the ocean, this blue water, and you can see through the water, I'm like, how can I see through it? And it's blue. It's so amazing. You can see through this water. The clouds were out that day, so the clouds are decorating the sky. And then on the other side, when you turn around, you see all of this greenery, and you're on top of this concrete pillbox. It's like you're just looking down. You know how they say sitting on top of the world? Like, that's exactly what it feels like. Now, getting up there is not easy, right? And getting up there is not easy. I saw folks that had their kids there. I don't know. I would recommend it for older kids. But getting up there is not easy, but you pay for the views for sure. You pay for the views. But the views was absolutely worth it.
Yeah, there was a few times I remember, especially after it rained, where my shoes were just caked in mud, where I had to take them off because I got more traction with my bare feet than with shoes. But yeah, you're right. That view is something else, especially during sunrise. One thing that I wish I would have done when I lived there, and it's still on my bucket list, but there's a certain part of the year where the sun will rise between the two moats, the islands right off Lanikai Beach, and it's just perfectly synced, rising in between them. And I've always wanted to be there to witness it and capture that moment. So definitely, if folks haven't had a chance to do the Lanikai pillboxes, it's definitely worth the early rise and climb to see sunrise from up there.
It is worth it. Yes, and a hike is intense when there's ropes. So when I get in there and I see these ropes, and I'm like, what are these ropes for? And I saw folks like using the ropes to get up the mountainside. I'm like, oh, oh, this is a hike for you. But again, it was well worth it. Well worth it.
Now, we like to do a segment here on the podcast where we do a deep dive into our guest's Instagram and we ask them about a particular post or reel. And I came across your stunning photos from Black Waterfalls State Park with the beautiful waterfalls and the vibrant fall colors. Can you walk us through that experience and that state park? Do you have any special memories from that trip?
Yeah, that was our first time going to that area. The way Virginia is set up, and I'm just falling in love with it every day, is that you can get to Maryland in a couple hours, you can get to West Virginia in a couple hours, you can get to DC in a couple hours, you can get to Pennsylvania in a couple hours. So I was looking for, fall kind of getaway, and I was looking at state parks, and I came across this state park, Black Waterfalls. And the drive, I remember the drive from where we were in Virginia, the route that we took to the state park is this road where it's winding through mountains. The road cuts through the mountains. Each side of you on this road winding through the mountains, all you see is like these just massive mountains with just decorated with these fall colors. I'm talking about for I think it was probably about 30 miles of just fall color, just mountainside views. And I'm like, oh my gosh, every 5 minutes, I'm like, oh my gosh, do you see this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, do you see this? And my daughter's like, yes, I see it. And it was so gorgeous. I mean, the drive itself, it was so beautiful, but that wasn't even the main attraction. Like the drive itself was just amazing getting there. And then as we go into this side of West Virginia, they also have these giant windmills, these big giant white windmills. So they are on top of the mountain, decorated in these fall colors, going to this state park. And it's like, whoa, whoa. It is something out of like a fairy tale. You see that. And then when we get to the state park, you've got these like gorgeous, it's like a canopy of just oranges and yellows and reds and all of that. And I mean, for nature lovers, it's like you're in heaven. And they call West Virginia almost heaven. And I see that's why. That is exactly why it's almost heaven. I really felt like this has got to be what heaven looks like, with all of these leaves and scenery and these trees. And it was just so gorgeous. And so we get to Blackwater Falls. It's awesome at Blackwater Falls because there's a lodge that is literally right on this giant gorge. And so we were staying at the lodge, and literally in the backyard, I call it, of the lodge, is this giant gorge of just these fall colors for miles and miles and miles. And then they have the actual falls that are massive, and that is kind of decorated in all these fall colors. And then they also have several sets of falls in that area that are all kid friendly. And I have to pause and say that one of the types of things I look for when I'm hiking with my daughter is kid-friendly hikes that adults will also enjoy, because I'm like, I want to enjoy too, right? So that's why I try to find more of the adventurous style hikes that you probably wouldn't think you can do with the kid, but you can. And that's exactly what it was like at Blackwater Falls, to see that place looking like that in the fall. We did not want to go home. You can just stare out there for hours. You got to come to Virginia and then go on over to West Virginia. It's like 2.5 hours, and it's worth it, right? And there's one thing you can do in the fall, it is that place. It's absolutely beautiful.
No, yeah. As soon as I saw it and started learning about it, I saved it on my Google Maps. It's definitely going to be one of the stops when I make it out to Virginia and West Virginia. Because, yeah, your pictures, if it looks that beautiful in pictures, I can only imagine seeing it in person, the colors and the vibrancy, what it's like. Just truly spectacular. Now, that was it for the regular questions, Shaneice. This next part of the podcast are questions that we like to ask all our guests. The first one is, I think a lot of hikers tend to have a regular routine, whether it's at the summit or at the end of the hike. For a lot of us, it's just packing a favorite snack or drink. For others, it's a moment of zen. And then for a lot of us, it's, enjoying that favorite meal afterwards. Do you have a regular custom or routine when you reach your destination or when you make it back out?
Yeah, so once we get to the top, we always stop and we eat our snack. And she gets to pick what snack she wants. Her snack of choice is veggie straws. So we have our veggie straws, banana, water, and we just sit there, and we sit there for a good amount of time just relaxing. And then on the way out, once we get back, we're always like, yay, another hike, and then I either take her out to get like ice cream afterwards if we can. And if it's not ice cream, then we'll just go grab dinner at a restaurant or somewhere, just go sit down and eat. So it's an event for us just to complete the memories.
I like that. Yeah, veggie straws have been like my go-to chips this winter, especially if you can find the screaming hot ones. If you're a fan of like flaming hot Cheetos, there's the screaming hot version of veggie straws that I could down a whole bag on a hike.
Yeah, I haven't heard of those, but now I'm going to be on the lookout for them.
Now, Shaneice, this next question is about your pack list. Do you have a luxury item that you tend to pack that falls outside of the essentials?
I have one and my daughter has one. My luxury item is my journal, because once we get to where we want to be and I'll sit there and journal sometimes. My daughter actually created her own adventure notebook. So we went to Hobby Lobby because she said she wanted to have a diary for her adventures. That's what she called it. So we went to Hobby Lobby, got some little things, and she decorated it. She kitted it out. It's her adventure notebook she takes everywhere. And so she'll take it and she draws what she sees out there on the trail and things. So she takes that and she takes her binoculars. They go everywhere she goes, her adventure notebook and her binoculars.
Oh, I might have to borrow that idea from your daughter. I think even adults need an adventure diary or adventure notebook. That's really great. We're still at the beginning of 2025. We were talking about how the wildflowers are starting to finally come in, both in Virginia and the Pacific Northwest. There's still the spring and summer months and fall months ahead of us. Do you have any hiking or travel goals for the rest of the year?
Yes, I do. My goal for this year, I want to do, the 52 hike challenge. So trying to do that. So that's the big one, just getting out there on the trails. Some of the places that I want to see, Virginia has amazing wildflower trails down in Shenandoah. So I want to get down to Shenandoah while the wildflowers are in bloom and check those out. Also checking out, because again, I get these ideas from my daughter. She wants to see a swamp. So there's actually the Great Dismal Swamp. It's actually one of the natural wonders of Virginia. It's called the Great Dismal Swamp. So we have that on our bucket list to go check that out. And then I might not take my daughter with me for this one, but there's also the Great Channels down in Virginia as well. They are amazing. It's like these massive rock formations that have kind of been carved out over time, and you can walk through them. They're called the Great Channels. And then the last one, and I have a lot, but the last one I'll mention is Virginia also has a lot of these observation towers. So there's one down near the Breaks. In Virginia, it's called the Breaks Interstate Park. There's one nearby that is called Birch Knob. Is this observation tower. Once you climb up the stairs, you can see 5 states. So from that tower, just because of how high it is. So I want to go there, and that's on our list to check out in the fall.
Oh, man, you're going to have a busy year, and I know you're going to be seeing some spectacular sights this year, you and your daughter, and I can't wait to see them on Instagram. Now, Shaneice, this last section of the podcast, we always like to finish off with a game of this or that questions. I'm going to give you 10 hiking-related topics, and you just choose which one you prefer out of the two. You could say both. You can even say neither. But the first one is, do you prefer packing a trail lunch or just snacks?
Just snacks.
And then this one's going to be a tough one for you, but waterfalls or summits?
Oh, my goodness. I would say, summit. I say summit. It's very hard. I say summits because of it feels like you're conquering something when you get to the top of it, right? Like I've conquered this summit. And then the waterfalls, maybe waterfalls, because the waterfalls are so peaceful and you can just kind of sit there and get lost, right? In the waterfalls. And so, yeah.
That might be a both then, huh?
Yeah, it's a both. That's a both. That's a both.
Now, this next one's about trail systems. Do you prefer a trail with switchbacks or would you rather go straight up?
Straight up.
And then our most controversial one, do you prefer using trek poles or would you rather go freehand?
I would rather go freehand. However, I need the trek poles. If I didn't have to use them, I would not, but sometimes I have to. But I definitely prefer freehand.
This next one's about your footwear. Do you wear traditional hiking boots or trail runners?
I have both, but I think it's mostly For the types of hikes that we do, mostly trail runners.
And then another trail system question. Do you prefer a loop trail or an out and back trail?
A loop trail. It's impossible for me to get lost on a loop trail if I just follow the loop. I'm all about loops. Yes.
Okay, I like that response. This next one's going to be another tough one, but group hikes or solo adventures?
Oh, man, that is a tough one. I have to say both. I love group hikes. I just love those because of the community that you get and the friends that you make. But then I also like solo hikes because I'm an introvert, so I like to kind of be by myself a little bit. So it's both.
And these next two are some of the hardest ones. First one is sunset hikes or sunrise hikes?
Sunrise.
And then I think this one's going to be equally as tough. Spring wildflowers or fall colors?
Fall colors.
And then the last one, do you prefer a short and scenic hike or fast and challenging?
Short and scenic. I love the short and scenic. My daughter and I's thing is short hikes, big views. That's what we say.
You need to put that on a shirt for Mommy and Me group hikes. I love that. I love that. Well, that was it for the this or that questions. If folks want to follow your journey and your daughter's journey, as well as the group community hikes that you do, where are some of the places they can follow you both on social media and online?
So follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at KayLashae, KayLashae _adventures. Also, you can check out the website and the blog at KayLashaeAdventures.com. So KayLashae Adventures, all one word.com. There you can see our blog posts of all of our adventures, get tapped into some group hikes, join our newsletter to get all of our latest and greatest adventures.
Awesome. And we'll be sure to put those links in the episode show notes so people can follow along. Shaneice, it has been an amazing time speaking with you, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the year has to bring to you and your daughter. Keep doing what you're doing because you're doing some amazing work there in your local community, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to speak with us.
Thank you for having me, and it's great chatting with you, and I appreciate the platform that you have, just sharing all these amazing stories about, people being outdoors is super inspiring.
And that brings us to the end of this episode alongside Shaneice. We extend a heartfelt thanks to her for coming on the podcast. Be sure to follow her on Instagram at KayLashae _adventures and check out the episode show notes to learn more. New episodes will be dropping every Monday this spring, with occasional bonus episodes on Fridays. To ensure you never miss out on these thrilling tales, remember to hit the like and subscribe button. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to check out our vibrant community on Instagram at Hikes and Mikes. We'll be sharing episode visuals, my own personal hiking content, and so much more. Let's stay connected and continue to inspire each other on this remarkable journey. As we bid farewell, remember to tread those happy trails, embrace the great outdoors, and keep the spirit of adventure alive. Until next time, my fellow explorers, happy hiking. This episode's music was created by Ketsa. Follow him on Instagram at Ketsa Music. This episode is brought to you by Ursa Minor Outfitters. Folks, I'm absolutely in love with my loon mug. It's handmade. It's an absolute piece of art. Whether it's at the office or at the house, people keep asking to check it out. If you're not a loon fan, they also have other beautiful mugs for wildlife fans of moose, bears, and eagles. They specialize in products highlighting the outdoors and local pride through quality design by local artists. They've even started expanding into items beyond mugs, like apparel, dog accessories, and soon candles and more. They also try to partner and highlight other small businesses, and in some cases, forego profits in lieu of charitable giving to help their community, such as the dog rescue. So check them out, ursaminooroutfitters.com, and enter promo code HikesMikes10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order. And for our four-legged hiking partners, they also have a portable silicone dog bowl and also a sweet over-the-collar dog bandana. Go check them out, ursaminooroutfitters.com, and don't forget to enter promo code HikesMikes10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order.